Have you ever got frustrated when someone won't do what you've asked them to do? If you're a manager or a supervisor, have you ever said it's almost impossible to find good people? Or if you're a parent, have you ever said about your children, I can't get my kids to do what I want them to do? If you want to change all that, if you want to get better results where you work at the office, or even if you want to get better results as a parent at home, then hang around. This video is for you. G'day and welcome. My name is Willem, and on this channel I share the philosophies and the wisdom that Mr. Jim Rohn shared with me over 30 years ago. By consistently applying and being disciplined with the things Mr. Rohn taught me, I've been able to lead a life on my terms, and I truly wish the same for you. Mr. Rohn said this: a good objective of leadership is to help people who are doing poorly to do well, and for those who are doing well to do even better. But how do you actually do that? Let me tell you a short story. My very first go at leadership was when I was at university, and I was working at a place called the Pancake Parlour here in Melbourne, Australia. I started as a dishwasher, anyway, worked my way up to a shift manager, and I had to manage 12 to 13 people every night. And I found it really hard because no one told me what to do. And so I just did the best I knew how. I thought it would be a good idea to be just friends with everybody. But then guess what? I didn't get people to do what I wanted them to do. So then I went the other way, and I thought, okay, you've got to be basically a bit of an asshole and really get tough with people. And I found that wasn't the solution. And then I remembered something that Mr. Rohn taught me. Mr. Rohn said, you've got to read all the books, or at least read all the books on the topic on which you want to improve. And so I started looking for books on how to lead people, how to manage people. And I found the answer. And the answer was in this book, The 1 Minute Manager by Ken Blanchard and Spencer Johnson. I still have the original copy. It's now actually called The New 1 Minute Manager, but I've still got the original copy back when it was printed in 1996. I still think it's the best book on management and leadership that I've ever read. And the beauty of it is, it's only wafer thin. You can read this in under an hour, and it's entertaining because it basically works in a story format as a parable. And Ken Blanchard was very clever. He actually did his research and found that the great majority of Americans only read the first chapter of a book. So he only made it one chapter long. But that one chapter is so packed full of information if you lead people that you really don't need, I believe, to read any other books. So in this video, I want to give you the 3 keys to being a great 1 minute manager. I've put them into practice myself, and I can personally vouch that it works. So let's dive straight in. Ken Blanchard said there are 3 steps to becoming a 1 minute manager. And the first of these is sit down with the person you want to work with and set very clear 1 minute goals. The person needs to know without a shadow of a doubt what it is they're responsible for and how they're going to be held accountable. I have found it is very difficult to force your goals on someone else. They really need to be on board with that. They need to agree that yes, these are the goals, this is what I'm responsible for, and this is how I will be held accountable. So once you come up with those goals, you put it on 1 page of paper, something that can be read in 1 minute, that you both agree these are the 1 minute goals, this is what I'm responsible for, on 1 page of paper. Once you have that 1 page, on that page should be the metrics that you're going to use to measure performance. Okay, let's look at a simple example that I've used before. I bring someone into the company, and their job is to send out pieces of direct mail to my target market, and then to follow those up with a phone call. And their job over the week is to send out 20 of these, they're only working part-time, and to make 20 phone calls to follow up. So we sit down and we agree, 20 pieces of direct mail, 20 phone calls to follow up. Is that okay? We get agreement, great. And off we go, we start the week. At the end of the week, we sit down and we go, okay, Mary, John, how many pieces of direct mail did you send out and how many phone calls did you make? If it's 20 and they've done 20 and they followed up 20 times, Great, everybody's happy, we're making progress. But unless you are very specific, unless you are clear with the numbers, what it is that good performance actually looks like, you can get very confused. And I find that often managers and employees have problems because managers aren't crystal clear about what it is they actually want their employees to do. So that's really critical, that first step. Have clear 1 minute goals with what it is you want people to achieve. And you can do the same with your children. If you agree, sit down and say, listen, can we agree you're going to tidy your room and you're going to make your bed before you go off to school? Can we both agree on that? Let's write it down. Let's both agree to it. Okay? So you can do that with your children. You can do it with employees. You can do it with yourself. You can be a 1 minute manager for yourself. But that's the important first step. Write down clear 1 minute goals. Step 2 is provide 1 minute praisings. Now, I believe that as a leader or as a parent, you should be spending most of your time catching people doing things right. Now, I have had plenty of arguments about this over my life, but I honestly believe that if you want to be a great manager, if you want to be a great leader, you need to spend most of your time catching people doing something right. And here's why. People appreciate it. People will go the extra mile if they're appreciated for what they do. Now, the common argument that I get all the time is, well, hang on a minute, Will, that's what they're paid to do. They should be doing their job. And of course, yes, they should be doing their job. But the reality is we don't work with robots. We are human beings dealing with other human beings, and all human beings want to feel appreciated and important. And so it's really important to catch people doing things right. So in the example I provided before, this person sending out 20 pieces of direct mail and they're following up 20 times, you can say, hey, great job, Harry. I really appreciate that. You do a great job with those with that direct mail. You followed up each and every one of them. That is just fantastic. It makes my job so much easier. Very important to tell them how you feel. It makes my job so much easier when you follow the process and you follow the systems, and we basically follow the 1 minute goals that we both agree to. So that's step number 2, 1 minute praisings. Spend a lot of your time catching people doing things right. And the third step is this, because guess what? Not everything in life goes the way you want it to do. There are going to be mistakes. People are going to let you down. Now, the very first thing you must do as a leader or as a supervisor or as a parent is ask this question. Is this a can't do problem or is this a won't do problem? Now, if it's a can't do problem, that problem comes back to you because the cleaner hasn't been trained, the person doesn't know what it is they're supposed to do. Okay, so you've got to go back and make sure that the 1 minute goals are actually clear and that you both agree to them. If that's not the case, if everybody's clear with the goals and everybody knows what it is that good performance looks like, then obviously we have a won't do problem. It's a attitude issue. And in that case, you issue a 1 minute reprimand. Now, in the new book, they actually call it a 1 minute redirect. I don't mind which language you use, but essentially the message is this. You talk to the person, you don't like their behavior, you like them as a person, but you're not criticizing the person, you are criticizing the behavior. That is such a fundamental thing that you must understand. So if in the case I gave you before, we bring Harry in on a Friday and Harry sent out 5 pieces of direct mail when he's supposed to send out 20 and he hasn't followed anybody up. I would sit down with Harry and say, Harry, I'm really disappointed. I really thought that you would be all across this. I'm getting frustrated because obviously if you're not doing your job, we can't grow as a business. So I'm not criticizing Harry himself as a person. I am criticizing Harry's behavior. Now, the way you finish a 1 minute reprimand is you get agreement on the 1 minute goals again so that you can move forward. Now, Harry, can we agree that from next week, you will send out those 20 pieces of direct mail and you will follow up 20 times. Can we agree that's going to happen? Harry says, yes, Will. I promise I won't make the same mistake. I'll get on with it. And then you finish with a 1 minute praising. Great, Harry. You've proven this before. You've done this before. I know you're capable. Let's just get back on track. Okay? So that way you feel good. You've dealt with the issue. Harry feels good because you haven't criticized him personally. You've criticized his behavior and you're giving him a chance to do better next week. Now, the reality in life is this. Some people just don't work out. And Mr. Rohn had a great quote for this, which I've never forgotten and I've used a lot. He said, don't take your ducks to eagle school. If a person is a duck, there is no point in trying to train them to be an eagle. I find personally, I don't tend to use more than 1 to 2 1-minute reprimands. If I need to give a person a third 1-minute reprimand, the reality is they're probably a duck and I'm trying to make them an eagle. And in that case, it's probably best to part company as soon as possible. Over the years, I've employed probably hundreds of people and I've probably had to let go just as many. When I first went into business, I used to say, I'm going to get my team as motivated and inspired as me, even if it kills me. And the reality is, I almost died. Sometimes you have to face the reality that you are not going to get through to some people, and that's okay. They're just not the right people for the organization or for the endeavors that you're undertaking, and that's okay. Everybody needs to find their own road. So there's my summary of the 1-minute manager. Write 1-minute goals, give 1-minute praisings, do 1-minute reprimands if it's required. I still think it's the best book that any young manager or new manager can pick up. If you haven't got a copy, I strongly recommend you go out and get one. I always like to offer a bonus in all my videos, but before we go to the bonus, if you found this video useful, could you like it and even subscribe and make sure you press that notification bell so that you don't miss any of the new videos coming through. Right through 23, I'll be sharing thoughts and wisdom that Jim Rohn shared with me. I post one every week. So if you press that bell, then you won't miss out on any. Okay, let's go to the bonus. And the bonus is this. I find that the hardest thing people often find is getting started with 1-minute management. They don't know how to actually set 1-minute goals with an employee or someone they're working with. So what I've done is I've included a couple of PDFs on 1-minute goals that I've set with my team in the past. If you'd like to access those, I'll put a link in the description below and you can get in there and use those as templates for your own 1-minute goals. Now, if you want to become an excellent 1-minute manager, a good leader, Jim Rohn had this advice. He said, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. In other words, walk your talk, become the best version of yourself. And if you'd like to know how to start on that, how to go about that, this video up here will tell you and give you some great ideas to get started. I'm sure you'll enjoy that. Thank you for taking some time out of your life to watch this video right to the end. If you want to be a good manager, if you want to be a better parent, I can highly recommend this book. Please do yourselves a favor, go out and get it. You will thank me later.